This is John Wen. Today is December 2nd, 2020. In today's video, I'm going to go through the research updates since the past week. As you can see, I was working on the single item deep learning workflows from the past week. Here is a quick overview of the deep learning workflow we hope to construct, and we hope to simplify the user's input as much as possible and make that easy, user-friendly to the users, so they only need to specify what kind of layers they need for this stage. From the review in the last week, I was able to compile the whole CUDA project into a single DLL file and also call the single method in Java in Eclipse to have the new network to run, which is successful and done. But while I try to parse the data from Java or from the GenAI to the CUDA, I still have the problem, because in the Visual Studio, if we do not involve the GenAI, it's successful and can be done when we parse a hash map into the neural network to run. But for the Eclipse, when we involve the GenAI, we have the problem that is, we are parsing a JObject to the CUDA code. So what I need to do is to parse this JObject into some code that recognized by the CUDA or by the C++. So what I need to do is basically parse this JObject into a hash map or a map in C++. So here is updates. I tried with another two testing to parse the data from GenAI to CUDA in the past week. So the test 2, I tried to parse a map int and int array as a JObject from GenAI to CUDA and parse a JObject to the map int and int array in CUDA. And this is not successful, as you can see from the code here. So this is a test 2. I tried to construct a method which is a Java hash map to CUDA hash map. What I'm trying to parse is a JObject into this function, and then here is a blank, or this is a the initiated map which is empty, but while we run this method, this will be assigned with values. This is an object we want to get from this method, and this is a map of the int as a key and int array as value. But as you can see, I try to parse a lot of different classes and also loop through the iteration. And here, while we have the next iteration, we will always parse the entry and also get a key and get the value. And here are some GenAI methods that can be found basically from this website. So if you take a look at this website, and this is a GenAI environment struct reference, and here we have many methods can be called from the GenAI. So basically, I'm trying to read through this documentation and find the proper method I'm going to use. So here you can see I try to use some method like the called object method, which can get us a key as well as get us a value. And then after we get that, we try to parse that into a map of int and int array, and this does not work successfully. I'm not quite sure what is the problem, but it's a little bit hard to debug. And however, after I tried another way, which is a simpler, I tried to parse a map string and string both as a key and value as a JObject from GenAI to CUDA, and parse a JObject to map int and vector string, so which is successfully. So if you take a look at the code, which is a testing 3, and here is a testing 3, so it's a whole project. I just clone basically from test 1 to test 2 and test 3, and basically this one, what I'm trying to do is here I try to get a string map key as a string and also the value as a string. So what I need to do after I get this map from the JObject is basically in the main method I have to parse this map of the string into the map of the int and the vector of string. So as you can see here, this input map, which is going to parse the object I just get from that method, and then I parse them into int and vector of string. So why I need this? So here is a Eclipse. In the Eclipse, what I'm trying to parse. So here we have a map which is key as a string and also the value as a string. So here you can see the first string is basically the index of the layer. So we will parse this as an integer in the CUDA code because this will tell us which layer it is. And for the second, the value, we have the string as well, but we will parse that into array. And basically, the first value will tell us what kind of layer we want. And here is an explanation. If we say 0, that means we are going to have a linear layer. If we say 1, we are going to have a relu layer. And if we say 2, we will have a sigmoid layer. And if we have a linear layer, there are two more parameters we have to parse into this array or this string. Basically, the second one will be indicate number of the input neuron, and the third parameter will indicate the number of output neuron. So here, for example, we have the 0 to 30. That means we are going to have a linear layer, and with 2 input neuron and 30 output neuron. And here we have input as a linear layer as well, but we have 30 input neuron and 1 output neuron. So basically, this is a hash map we were going to parse through the GenAI to the CUDA. And I think it successfully came wrong. As you can see here, this is a result. If I save you some time, if we run this code, basically this is calling the main test.dll, which I just created or generated from the test3 project. And this one will help us to get the method, which is a simple neural network, has a parameter or argument as input, which is a hash map, which is a string as a key and string as value. So if we call this one in the Eclipse, we're going to parse a map, as we say here, layer specifications. And with this input, we are going to call this method, and here is output. So you can see it indicates a linear layer as we expected. A linear layer 0 has been added into the neural net. Relu layer has been added. A linear layer 2 has been added, and sigmoid layer has been added. And then the training process is going to get started. Here we have 1,000 epochs, and now for current, the setting, the epochs number is a fixed number or hard-coded number. Maybe this can be flexible as well in the future while we move into the workflow. And here we have the accuracy after we done the training. So we also have a check whether this is successful. Otherwise, we will print out the error message. But here you can see it's running successfully. So if we can run this again, and you will see this main test3.java is going to run, and we are going to see the same result. But what is noticeable is that for the GPU, it's going to have a new peak. That means we are using the CUDA on the GPU to run this program, not on the CPU. So this is good. That means we are able to dynamically construct a neural network from the Eclipse and to run on the CUDA. So this is something that's I think that's good to know. And also, the next step is going to have the neural network workflow constructed, and maybe we can have different inputs and outputs and dynamically construct a neural network for the demo or for the testing. So I think that's it for today's video, and maybe later we will have more layers to be written in this base or in this fundamental platform. So I think that's good to see the progress and hope you enjoy the video. Until next time, happy coding!